The rain didn't stop. It never stops in this town when you need it to wash away the blood. I walked out of Hudson Yards not as a hero. Heroes ride off into the sunset to applause. I crawled into the sewers, leaving behind a trail of superheated steam and fear. That's this city. You save them from the dark, and they look at you like you are the darkness itself, just backlit with red neon. Something changed inside me after meeting Mr. Still. Before, I was just a powder keg looking for a match. Now, I was a nuclear reactor with a cracked core. The energy I dumped into the ground to knock him down, it didn't all go. It left a residue, a burning under my skin that neither cold whiskey nor cheap rain could soothe. My hands shook, not from fear, from overload. Every movement rang in my ears like I was standing inside a working transformer. I needed to discharge, but the third rule said there are things that reset you to zero. Still was out there somewhere. He was waiting for me to get too bright so he could just switch me off. I went underground, deeper than the A train runs, down where the NYC subway turns into the guts of a forgotten Leviathan. Old service tunnels under Grand Central, where rats are the size of cats and the walls ooze black sludge. This was my turf. No Helios cameras here. Nothing at all here, except echo and darkness. I needed to hit something. I found an abandoned pump station from the Great Depression. Cast iron bulkheads, 3-foot thick concrete walls. The perfect punching bag. I started slow. The first punch left a dent in a metal door. The vibration traveled up my arm, pleasant like a sip of cold water in hell. The second punch tore the hinges off. On the third, I stopped holding back. I hammered the concrete, venting steam. Red glow flooded the tunnel, turning rusty pipes into the veins of some infernal creature. I wasn't punching a wall. I was punching this city. I was punching the memory of that alley in the Bronx. I was punching the void that Still had left inside me with his touch. When I was done, the station was a ruin. I stood knee-deep in rubble, breathing heavy, rasping. Steam poured off my body, mixing with the underground fog. The burning subsided, replaced by a dull, aching emptiness. It was better than overload, for a while. But in this city, silence is always the harbinger of a storm. I surfaced near Queensbridge as the sky started turning gray before dawn. My contact, an old harbor dispatcher named Rusty, set the meeting in a diner that smelled of burnt coffee and broken dreams. Rusty wouldn't look me in the eye. Nobody looked me in the eye anymore. They looked at my hands, waiting for them to start glowing. "Helios is nervous, Red," he croaked, sliding a grease-stained napkin across the table to me. "After what you pulled in Manhattan, they tripled security at their sites, but there's something weird." "Weird is my specialty," I replied. My voice sounded like gravel grinding in a cement mixer. "A shipment is coming into Hunts Point docks tonight, off schedule, no customs. The security isn't regular rent-a-cops, it's those guys in heavy armor you tossed around at the plaza, and they aren't carrying weapons." "What then?" Rusty shook his head. "I only caught a glimpse of the manifest. It said, 'Protocol Silence,' and also they were carrying a lot of liquid nitrogen, a whole lot. Nitrogen, cold, still. The picture was coming together, and I didn't like what I saw. They figured out the second rule. If you can't discharge the battery, freeze it, make the energy inside brittle. I had to intercept that shipment, not to save the city, but because if Still got what he needed, my next meeting with him would be my last. Hunts Point docks at 3 in the morning is where even rats go to die. Huge warehouses plunged in shadow, the smell of rotten fish and diesel fuel. The rain here seemed even dirtier. I saw the Helios convoy from afar, 3 armored trucks escorted by 2 black SUVs. They moved slowly, confidently, like masters of the universe. In a way, they were. I could have ambushed them, could have used tactics I learned in the tunnels, be a scalpel. But that same high-voltage wire was starting to hum inside me again. The debt was growing, and I wanted to pay it right now. I jumped off a warehouse roof right in front of the lead SUV. The asphalt cracked under my boots. I stood up to my full height, letting the energy flow freely. My eyes flared like 2 red headlights in the dark. The SUV driver didn't even have time to brake. He slammed into me at 60 miles an hour. It was beautiful.
The impact of the 2-ton vehicle was like an injection of pure adrenaline straight to the heart. Metal crumpled around me like foil. I felt the kinetic energy of the crash pour into my veins, hot, demanding, alive. I didn't move an inch. The SUV just wrapped itself around me and stopped dead. Security spilled out of the other vehicles. They were ready. Heavy rifles, kinetic dampeners on their armor. They opened fire without warning. Hundreds of bullets hit me simultaneously. Before, it used to hurt. Now it was fuel. Every bullet flattening against my skin gave me its speed, its deadly force. I absorbed their hatred, their fear, their lead. I grew bigger, brighter. My silhouette began to blur, vibrating with accumulated power. "Is that all you got?" My scream wasn't just sound, it was a shockwave that blew out windows in nearby warehouses. They retreated, regrouping, and then they rolled it out of the back truck. It wasn't a weapon in the usual sense. It looked like a huge satellite dish aimed straight at me. One of the technicians hurriedly pressed a button. There was no sound. There was vibration. It went through me, ignoring skin and muscle, hitting right into my bones. It wasn't energy absorption. It was churning. The device generated an ultra-low frequency that resonated with the power boiling inside me. I fell to one knee. I was nauseous. The world doubled and tripled before my eyes. The energy inside me went berserk. It no longer flowed in a steady stream. It convulsed, trying to burst out through every pore. I was burning, not on the outside, but on the inside. Every cell in my body screamed in pain. They didn't want to kill me. They wanted to overload me, make me explode like a cheap battery. I saw Helios soldiers putting on thermal masks. They knew what was about to happen. I had to stop it, but I couldn't move. The vibration pinned me to the ground. I remembered Still's words, "You are just chaos." Maybe he was right, but chaos is the only thing that can destroy perfect order.
If I can't control this energy, I have to direct it, not with fists, not by slamming the ground. I had to release it all, at once, into one point.
I focused my gaze on the truck with the vibro device. Through the pain, through the red haze before my eyes, I gathered all that fire burning my insides. I imagined my body was the barrel of a gun. I screamed, and in that scream I let it all out. It wasn't an explosion, it was a beam, a dense, concentrated stream of pure red kinetic rage burst from my chest. It sliced through the air, vaporizing raindrops. It hit the device. Metal didn't just melt, it annihilated. The beam went through the device, through the armored truck behind it, through the concrete wall of the warehouse, and went into the night sky over the Bronx, parting the clouds. The vibrations stopped. Deafening silence fell. I lay on the wet asphalt, drained to the bottom. Only a smoking crater and half a cab remained of the truck. Helios soldiers were scattered throughout the docks, shell-shocked but alive. I struggled to my feet. My body ached as if I'd been put through a meat grinder. But I was alive, and I was empty. I walked to the remains of the truck. Amidst twisted metal and torn cables, I saw what they were guarding. It wasn't nitrogen. It was a container, airtight, marked Project 0 Point. It was damaged by my beam. The lid was blown off. It was empty inside, but on the bottom of the container lay a single item, an old, worn photograph. I picked it up with a trembling hand, a black and white snapshot. It showed a man in work clothes standing in front of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge under construction. He was smiling, squinting in the sun. Next to him stood a woman and a small boy. The smile looked familiar. That scar over the eyebrow? I stared at the photo, and cold rain ran down my face, washing away the soot. I didn't remember my name. I didn't remember who I was before that alley, but I knew the man in the photo. It was me, before I became a battery, before I became red. And at that moment I understood. Still wasn't just trying to stop me. He knew who I was. Helios knew. All this time, they weren't hunting an anomaly. They were covering their tracks. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed. The city was waking up to start its dirty game again. I shoved the photograph under the remains of my jacket. Now I had more than just anger. Now I had a question, and I was gonna beat the answer out of this city, even if I had to take it apart brick by brick. The debt just went up, and this time the interest would be lethal.